Indonesia is a wonderful Southeast Asian country located between the Pacific and the Indian Oceans. Just like Ethiopia, the country is home to hundreds of ethnic groups speaking many different languages. It is known for eye-catching beaches, lush green forests, and wonderful wild and bird life. Due to such endowments, the country markets itself as wonderful Indonesia. Natural beauty and smiling people are not the only things that should be visited while in wonderful Indonesia. The country's advanced manufacturing technology should be a #1 priority for the life-changing experience. So we've been to different places in the industrious nation of Indonesia.
In the past few decades, different nations of the world have been able to transform their economies from agriculture-led into an industrialized and urban-based. There are, of course, different trends and experiences in this regard. We are now in Indonesia to see how this nation have been able to register steady growth in the past 6 decades and to share with you their experiences.
ኢንዶኔዥያ በተፈጥሮ በጣም ብዙ ነገር አላት።
Indonesia is rich with natural resources. There are 17,000 islands with a huge potential for mining, agriculture and tourism. The population is also a backbone of the economy. Their economic transformation began on the reign of Sukarno in 1945. Since then, they have identified their values, and based on those values, they have developed Pancasila, a principle of 5 pillars. They worked to eradicate poverty in harmony and unison, encouraging local entrepreneurs and attracting foreign investors largely from the Asian continent.
Dirgantara Indonesia Aircraft Manufacturing and PAL Indonesia Vessels Manufacturing Industries are manifestations of the advancement of the manufacturing industry, the developed capacity of the private sector, and the well-established public-private partnerships.
The production capacity of PT Dirgantara per year for all types of the aircraft is 6 aircraft per year. It consists of the fixed-wing aircraft, as you can see here. We have the CN235, NC212, and N219, and also the rotary wing aircraft, the helicopters. For the rotary wing, we collaborate with the Airbus helicopter company in Europe.
We have businesses to produce many kind of warship, including right now we are doing fabrication of a submarine, cooperation with the DSME Korea. And then secondly, our line businesses is merchant ship division. We have a capability to build merchant ship until 50,000 deadweight. And the third one is general engineering division. This division is focused on the industrial fabrication and also oil and gas businesses. And the last one, we also have repair and maintenance division. This division is focused on the repair, maintenance, and overhaul of warship and also merchant ship.
Get the benefit from the regulation from the government, but the benefit that we get, it is not the privilege only for the PTDI. Actually, we don't have an exclusive benefit, but it is applicable for many industries in Indonesia. For instance, For the export product, Indonesia has the Exim Bank, where they can provide to the customer, also our customer, the soft loan when they purchase our aircraft.
So government is fully support us. As you know that in 2015, government gave us 1.5 trillion rupiah for building a facility of submarine. And 2011, 2012, also government gave us much money, yeah, to refurbishment, to develop and to increase our facility.
Such companies are the backbones of Indonesia's economic growth. They create a number of job opportunities, reduce foreign expenditure by substituting import, and they generate income. The products have been sold in different parts of the world, including Africa. But still, they aspire to go multinational.
Africa know well what the quality of Indonesian product. So, in this time, we think that we not only sell aircraft to the Africa, but also we need to sell vessel or ship to the Africa. Maybe 1 month ago, African delegation already visit to the shipyard, and they express that PT PAL quality product is very good.
In the next 15 years, that we have to look at to Africa from now on, because the future of the economic growth in the world, I believe, is Africa. According to our research, there is a big demand in Africa in the next 10 years for the 19-seat capacity aircraft, and it would be the N219. Maybe it is not very economical if we build it all in Indonesia. Maybe the best way is we can, what we can do here is to produce the component, the sub-assembly, and do the final assembly in Africa. And I believe Ethiopia has the big chance for this. This is the multi-purpose aircraft as well, yeah, that can take off and landing in unpaved runway. Every new aircraft has to undergo the certification process.
Ethiopia established diplomatic relations with Indonesia back in 1961 after Afro-Asian Conference, also known as the Bandung Conference in 1955, which was a meeting of Asian and African states. And in 1964, Indonesia opened its embassy in Addis Ababa. The visit of Emperor Haile Selassie to Indonesia in 1968 is a manifestation of the strong relations between the two countries. 50 years later, Ethiopia opened its embassy in Jakarta with the aim of repossessing the impetus of the past and to create a strong bond of partnership and cooperation in different global agendas. With the strong relation and sense of partnership that is being established among the two nations, there can be a way for Ethiopian and Indonesian companies to work and grow together. The Ethiopian embassy in Jakarta is working to make that happen.
We've been promoting Ethiopian products to Indonesians through different mediums. We are working in collaboration with Indonesian government and Jakarta Chamber of Commerce and sectoral associations. Our embassy here is informing Indonesian investors about Ethiopia's investment climate and opportunities. We've also created linkage between the Ethiopian and Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and sectoral associations, and they have signed a memorandum of understanding. As a result, there has been an increase in the export of cereals from Ethiopia.
ኢንዶኔዥያ ከፍተኛ የሆነ ፖቴንሻል አለ
There are potential investors here in textile, leather, pharmaceuticals and other sectors as well. Our plan this year was to send one investor from Indonesia. Fortunately, we've been able to send 2 giant companies and 10 additional medium enterprises.
The tourism sector in Indonesia is one of the major contributors for its economy. Surabaya in the eastern Java, for example, offers an incredible view with the streets clean and green, making it suitable for sightseeing. If you want to take pictures, well, this is probably the best place for you.
Surabaya is one of the earliest port cities in Southeast Asia. Today, the city remains to be one of the important financial hubs of the Indonesian archipelago, arguably second only to Jakarta. Surabaya is locally believed to derive its name from the words Suro, a shark, and Boyo, crocodile, 2 creatures which in local myth fought each other in order to gain the title of the strongest and most powerful animal in the area. Since the early 90s, Surabaya has been one of the most important and busiest trading city, but at the same time, calm and delightful.
After an hour flight, here we are in a beautiful city of Bali. Here, the cultural, natural, and historical attractions are all commercialized. Today, Bali is one of the top destinations for international tourists. It's also home to a number of local tourists. In 2016 alone, around 5 million tourists from around the world visited Bali.
You may have seen Bali in different movies. It is a place where almost everything is worth visiting. Statues and carvings, the houses, souvenirs, sandy beaches, and even the rice fields attract international tourists. Bali is also well known for its traditional performing arts, including music, theater, and dance.
Like a house, tourism is like a roof, and then tourism must be supported by 5 pillars from the government, from the industry, private sectors, journalists also, academics, and most important is community involvement. But in Bali, we have a local genius to support the 5 pillars. It's called Trihita Karana. Trihita Karana means tree, it means tree. Hita means happiness, wellness, and prosperous. And Karana, it means causes. So 3 causes to get the happiness, wellness, and prosperous.
አትራክሽንስ አለን የተፈጥሮ አለን የባህል አለን የአርኪኦሎጂ አለን ወዘተርፈ
Ethiopia has a number of natural, cultural and historical attractions, but we need to work on the development of such tourist destinations. We need to have up-to-the-standard services and infrastructure. Tourists need to enjoy the hospitality as much as the sites they visit. That is what we can learn from Indonesia.
አሁን ማሌዥያና ሲንጋፖር ኢትዮጵያ አየር መንገድ ይበላል ጃካርታ እንዲበር ጥረት እያደረግን ነው።
Our airline flies to Singapore and Malaysia, and now we are working on the launching of direct flight from Addis Ababa to Jakarta. Negotiations are still ongoing, and we expect Ethiopian will fly to Jakarta as of the end of 2017 or the beginning of 2018. That will be a milestone for the people-to-people relations and the tourism sectors of the two countries as well.
On the hills of Kintamani, you can enjoy the landscape, the lake view, and the delicious taste in the restaurants.
The combination of the geographic and cultural diversity in Indonesia has resulted in one of the most unique cuisines in the world. Although meals are generally simple, the plentiful use of various roots, spices and leaves adds zest to the most dishes. Rice is Indonesia's most important staple food. It normally accompanies every meal and is often the main ingredient for desserts and beverages.
This is Uluwatu temple site, one of the holiest places for Hindus in Indonesia. Thousands of tourists came here on a daily basis, dressed in purple.
Hinduism is the third largest religion in Indonesia. Currently, around 1.7% of Indonesian population adheres to Hinduism. Today, the majority of Indonesian Hindu community lives on the islands of Bali, which is famous for its Hindu culture.
But Bali is unique in a socio-cultural aspect as well, because we held the ceremony almost every day, from the born of the baby until he died, so we held the ceremony. Our minister would like to get the tourists from overseas for 20 million tourists from overseas, and Bali 50%. So the number of tourists that we can get 10 million tourists.
In 2007, the bilateral trade volume between Ethiopia and Indonesia stood at around $69 million, with trade balance heavily in favor to Indonesia. But it has jumped to $450 million in 2016. Trade between Ethiopia and Indonesia potentially is increasing as Indonesian companies are looking into the investment opportunities in Ethiopia. Indonesia is also a good market for Ethiopian peas, leather and hides, and plants of medical value.